Hey everyone, I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of our Harvest Day setup. Stay tuned because at the end of our video we'll have an explanation of how much it actually costs to raise meat birds. So we're at Harvest Day 2022, second batch of the year. Getting our rocket stove going. What that does, it will warm up this water for our scalding pot. The scalding pot water will get dirty after a while, so we'll dump it out and replenish with the water that's warming and add a little more. This beautiful burner right here, bought at Academy, I believe. It's for a shrimp boil. I forget, 100,000 BTUs, I believe. But it warms up our water to 160 degrees within about 5 to 8 minutes, somewhere in there. Then we have our trusty plucker. This job would not be easy without this. Put the chickens in there after scalding them. Feathers drop down in there with the water, and our chickens are ready to go. What is that? That is a knee pad for the garden. Son made that. Cutting station. Barrel with some ice that will hold over. Finished barrel. And our shrink wrap station. We get these poultry shrink wrap bags. Put them in there. Let the air out with the straw tube, zip tied, closed. We weigh them and see where we come out at. The first batch we did this summer was a smaller batch than normal, but it came out to about $1.89 a pound. And it is July 29th. The Lord has been kind to us again with the weather. It's only supposed to be 82 today, not 100 like it has been a lot of this summer. And we're getting ready to get started here. We'll have a time lapse. Check out my first harvesting video for more details, and hope you have a blessed day. Here's our Cornish cross broilers. I believe we have 54. We're 7 weeks, 7.5, 8 weeks, somewhere in that time frame. They're ready to go. So how much does it cost to do meat birds? Not too bad. Now that we're fully invested, it doesn't cost too much. And by fully invested, I mean we bought the chicken plucker, the first batch that we did last year. That was a big expense, but we split it with another family that we do the chickens with. And then we ended up buying the 1,000 BTU jet burner for the scalding water, which is a game changer, as you saw in the video, where it takes 5 to 8 minutes to get our water to the temp that we need to, whereas before we were waiting about a half an hour with the small propane camping stove that we were using, which we still use the camping stove for the shrink wrap water, but that can start a half an hour before we're ready for it and let it warm up. So that application, it works fine, and we use the little Coleman propane tanks for that. So fully invested. Now it's basically just feed cost, the cost of the chickens, and then the little things like gloves, propane usage, shrink wrap bags, little stuff here and there that we will have to pay each time. But our first batch this summer was $557.24, and that's with everything included, all the feed that we purchased. And the feed that we did purchase was called Nature-Wise Meat Bird Feed, other than the starter feed, which is a little more costly. It's at TSC and Rural King right at $20 a bag. However, this feed works really well. You could try other methods. Our local mill does have great deals, 300 pounds of feed. Oh man, I'm trying to remember now. I think $60 for 300 pounds of chicken feed. However, when we used that before, it didn't seem like we had as much protein as we needed, but there are other options to explore, so you don't have to pay that price. But again, our first batch this summer was $557.24, all in with the price of the chickens, which we order from Whelp Hatchery. I believe they're $2 a chicken. It came out to our cost at $1.93 a pound. Our second batch, which we did back-to-back this summer, early summer, was $545.46 with all, and that came out to $1.76 a pound. So homegrown chicken, we know what we're feeding them, grass and grain, and we process them, and we don't use any chemicals and such, so kind of a peace of mind, and also the ability, thankful that the Lord has blessed us with the opportunity, the space to do this out here, and the families that help us. It's just a great experience all around, and we share the meat with those that help us, and then the other family that we split with down the middle. Definitely cuts the cost down to a manageable upfront cost. So we're just so thankful to the Lord that we have this option. So this year we've harvested, I'm trying to think, 280 and 314. So yeah, almost 600 pounds of meat in our first two batches this year, and it's the only two that we'll do. But yeah, split with other families and such. We have a good portion set back now in our freezers. And then again, we still have our rabbits that we can do for meat as well. We do have laying chickens, which we get the eggs from, and we also have laying quail. We might venture into another animal one day, possibly some cooney pigs, but we'll see how it goes. Again, this has been a great experience. If you haven't checked out our first harvest video, I'll attach the link below. In that video, harvest day last year, I have much more detail on the process itself and how to clean the chicken itself, kind of descriptive of how to dispatch it, but nothing that anybody couldn't watch unless cleaning out a dead animal is offensive to you, then I would not suggest to watch it. However, again, there's more tips on there, how to shrink wrap. We have the whole process last year done on that first video. This one was more of an update of this year's process, just a quick time lapse, and also an explanation of how much it actually costs to do these meat birds. And I think it's very cost effective, very beneficial, so thankful to be able to do it. One other thing I forgot to mention was the weight. We did have 314 pounds the second batch. Our chickens averaged out to be about 6.2 pounds, I believe. And we did go 7.5, 8 weeks. And the first batch, we went 7 weeks, and we only averaged, I think, 5.5 pounds, somewhere in there. They were smaller. And actually, this breed here, we didn't know. We contacted the hatchery, Whelp, and they explained it to us. They have two different strands of the Cornish rock breed here. One strand, they gave it a number, I can't even remember, but it grows consistently over the 7-8 week time frame. And they recommend around 50 days to cull them, harvest them. The second batch was the strand that did not grow very quick the first several weeks till about week 5.5 or 6. Then suddenly they started taking off and growing very rapidly. Now I have to say, I preferred the first batch that grew consistently over time, and here's my reason. That first batch actually seemed to have a little more intelligence than the second batch. And I know that sounds kind of funny, but we move those chicken tractors every day, and if you haven't seen those videos on the chicken tractors, I'll put a link below as well. But when moving the tractors every single morning, that first batch almost every day, walked with me to the new part of grass, and then was good to go. The second batch literally just stood there. It would lay down constantly, even though it wasn't too big or anything, but they would just lay there. The tractor would be bumping them. Their legs would get caught under the tractor and still would not move. So I think as far as the intelligence, the second batch was not the winner. The first batch was. But as far as the weight, I did like the second batch better. However, we did take almost an extra half week or week of growing time. So that consistent growing on the first batch might have been better if we had another week or two added to it, which would have cost more and then would have been more per pound. However, the second batch was better money-wise in cost savings and the amount of time and feed that we had to spend. So it's one way or the other. If you want the intelligence, slower growth, costs a little bit more, there's that path. Or the second path was not as intelligent, grew rapidly towards the end, and gave you a good return for your money, then that was the batch to go. But just be prepared. They're not bred for their intelligence, and they provided the meat, and that was about it. But Lord willing, it all came together. And again, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please leave them below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you won't miss any of our updates. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and God bless.